We hadn't expected it, but we found ourselves on the way to San Pedro. We were granted the first ever interview with the new craft brewery and had just enough time to make the trek before leaving the country. Island Time Brewery is on the cusp of becoming the first new beer producer in Belize in over 30 years. With its white sand beaches and laid-back tempo, it's easy to see why people like Michelle and Jeff decided to leave their lives in San Diego behind and follow the dream of opening a craft brewery in a place like this.
My name is Michelle Becker. I'm originally from Toledo, Ohio. I spent my adult years in San Diego before I moved down to Belize. We're both very avid divers and beer lovers, and we saw something that we could bring to the country and share our passion.
Belize is a beer country. The Belizeans love their beer. Now you got a lot of tourists also, so maybe you could find anybody drinking a beer at 8 o'clock in the morning or at midnight.
San Pedro is probably the slowest moving island I've been on. When I came down here, I was in a high stress position. I mean, I was always working, it seemed like, and we came down here, and this is the first place that I actually came to that I could actually relax. You could feel the drops in pressure when you're walking on the beach. And when we came out here, it was like a small fishing village. And it's just a place where I can still relax, go sit on the beach, I can walk to the lagoon, I can see the lagoon if I want from our house, and also see the Caribbean. Basically, all still revolves around the people, though. The Belizean people are wonderful people. And the San Pedranos are even more wonderful than the Belizean people. They're just very accepting of you, and they basically go out of the way to make sure you're happy.
Something that we say at the brewery is don't let paradise pass you by. We had the passion to move to this island and move to this country because we wanted to enjoy life. And that's why I say Island Times. I think that island feel is a very community and tight feel. It feels like family.
You don't know Black representing straight out of San Pedro and Bergisky. You don't know welcome to everyone we come from near or far. Could ride the boat to be here, could be a plane or car. San Pedro and Bergisky, hey, me love her. You think of that? When I talk about the new CD right now, you don't know it called Island Boy Emancipation. And you need to check out the big song, San Pedro Dream. And San Pedro, a place where dreams are possible. Possibilities.
Come have some fun with me. Fun. Yeah, yeah. San Pedro is the place where dreams are possible. Keep dreaming. So sweet in Hamburg-esque.
It may seem a little ironic that they chose San Pedro as the location of the brewery. San Pedro was the beloved hometown of the late Sir Barry Bowen, the man who started Belican and elbowed his way to the top of the beer monopoly. Sir Barry loved San Pedro so much that he even financed a much-needed bridge across Boca del Rio. After his death, the bridge was renamed the Sir Barry Bowen Bridge. Is it even possible that Island Time would be able to compete with a beer behemoth like Belican?
Michelle and Jeff purchased a place called Ambergris Brewing Company. And I was at that time working out at Wet Willie's as the manager out there. And I met Jeff the first time they were working on the water lines. And he's trying to tap into our water line. He didn't know because the owner said that was his water line. But started having coffee going in there. Then he started talking about brewing, which got me interested. And he had all the equipment, so he showed me all the equipment, and that's pretty much when we became friends. It's all about the beer. I'm originally from Orange County, California. I've been living in Belize, San Pedro, Belize for the last 11 years. I worked for Budweiser at the wholesaler level for nearly 14 years in sales. They were adequate beers and they were consistent beers. But a friend of mine got me involved in home brewing, and we began to compete. It was just nice to have a different tasting beer that had an aroma to it and something that tasted really well and different, completely different from the production beers that we always had before.
You know, Ohio's not really known for craft brews. There's lots of home brews, and I think all of our friends and family dabbled in it. But it wasn't until I moved to San Diego about 15 years ago that I really was like, wow, there's so much more complexity to a beer. No one has done this for over 30 years. So we're the first and second only to the current brewer.
We started taking action on trying to get the brewing license immediately. And it was a long process, but it finally paid off in the end.
I think it was a learning process for all of us to get this brewing license. The rest, as far as building a regular restaurant or bar, that's pretty straightforward. This country is very open to foreigners. They welcome new businesses and entrepreneurs.
Direction for the microbrewery is to support the island and Key Calker right now. Eventually we would like to expand more on the mainland. But right now it's just filling the smaller market. We're not here to compete with Belican. We're here to fill the complement and fill the void that they don't offer.
I don't look at us as competing with Belican. We're actually bringing in something completely different. We're looking at a craft brewery. We're looking at manufacturing or producing beers that are different and cutting edge and reaching out to the Belizean people, as well as bringing in large groups of people for Brewfest down the road. We're looking at working jointly with Belican in a lot of ways because it's about benefiting Belize, it's about benefiting the beer industry and spreading it through Central America and into the Caribbean more.
So right now the brewery we're actually building is a pilot brewery to get the samples out, to get the local flavors down. What do the local population actually like? Do they like hoppy beers? Do they like darker beers? So that's basically what we're in the process of right now.
A pilot system is something that a larger brewery usually uses to test beers before making them full-time in production. In the case of Island Time Brewing, they're starting out on a pilot system so they can establish a name for themselves and test the local market before deciding how much they want to expand.
Not every brewery looks at a pilot brewery as part of their main breweries. We weren't sure what the situation was when we started, if we were going to fail or if we were going to get forced to fail. We weren't sure what was going to happen. So we decided to start off small as well and see how things work out and then slowly build up as we got more of a comfort level on, or at least a viewpoint of how we were going to affect and how people were going to try to affect us here.
The brewer, myself and Jeff have done our own tastings. We call it quality control. And you guys are actually the first in this country to try this beer. So it is exciting.
No, so this has been a long time coming. So a lot of the population that lives here are waiting for the new beer. So we're kind of excited to roll out the new products and see what everybody thinks.
This is our new brewery, or it's actually considered more like a pilot brewery for its size. Basically, to start off, we have the kettle, we have the HLT, hot liquor tank, and we have the mash tun. These two are 5-barrel, that's actually 3 barrels, so we can actually do some high alcohol beers when we get around to doing it.
We love this country so much. We left our own. And it's not just myself. He fell in love with it years before I did. Our brewer has been here for almost 15 years. So all of us have this passion for this country and this passion for beer. The stars aligned and we met and we are doing it. We're getting it done. This dream is coming true. Our goals were not to do lagers or stouts. I think they've already done an amazing job in that area. We wanted to bring something different.
We make 3 brands currently. We have the Sunburnt Blonde Ale, which we actually brought out. We're looking at bringing in a bright beer into the industry here because we have to basically have a beer that is lighter for the fishermen and for people who enjoy sports and activities out in the sun. So we actually use Cascade hops and Centennial hops. We don't dry hop that beer because we want a less hoppy beer, so it has a cleaner finish. It's reddish in color, so it gives it a slightly copper tone. It's very flavorful and it's very aromatic, and it's got a very tight bubble head on it, so it actually pours very well. We're also doing a My Precious Porter. That is basically to reach into the stout, but yet not a stout beer. It's a sweeter beer, it's a darker beer, so it actually fits into the stout category for the Belizeans. And it basically is something different that we can actually introduce to the Belizeans also. We're slowly trying to introduce this in, and they're being so far in the taste testing, they're accepting it. So it's mostly just about seeing what works here, and the porter will work, and it is working. The Mayan Pale Ale, we use all Cascade hops, and we dry hop with Cascade. So that is basically for a little bit more flavor. We kind of cut back on the hoppiness towards the end, so we don't put in as much as you would in the States, because we're still trying to wean the Belizean people into a hoppier beer because it's something brand new here.
Many of us coming from the microbrew industry in the States like hoppy, floral, strong beers. The climate down here and what people are used to, that might be a little too strong. So we basically toned it down, and then we added a secret ingredient that's indigenous to Belize to give that something extra special that you can only find in Belize, and it's from Belize. So our Mayan Pale Ale is exactly the answer to your question on how we fuse together American and Belizean flavors.
The secret ingredient in the Mayan Pale Ale is found on the mainland. It's found in the jungle. So it's something that is indigenous to basically here, as well as a small portion of Honduras. It's not normally used as a food source, but it is an excellent adjunct to our product, and it gives it its own distinct flavor.
I mean, there's like I said, there's a lot of opportunity. We've got a lot of different stuff here, a lot of different stuff you don't find in the States, tropical, that are indigenous only to Central America, and only probably about 3 countries in Central America that we have here. And it's just something that we want to use.
People have been rooting for us and watching us for 2 years now. And at our original location, when we had a little pub on the beach, tourists knew us. They'd come back every single year. They'd ask about our progress. They would watch us on our blogs. They would watch us on our website, like us on Facebook. And all those things really lended itself to showing that people wanted the change. And that really helped us along in just proving that this is a good thing for everyone here. Being the first in such a long time to the entire country, that we have so much to live up to, and we are so very excited and humbled by this opportunity that we have in this country.
We finally are done and we're building the brewery, so we can't walk down the street a day without somebody asking, is the beer ready yet? Is the beer ready?
Like local celebrities, huh?
Sometimes it feels that way, I don't know. We have so many aspirations for Belize and beer. We would like to have brew festivals. We would like to take Belizean beer to the brew festivals across the world. We want to put our country and the Caribbean on the map for having craft brews, not just for having the lighter lagers. If you were to say, what is part of our dream and our outreach, it's definitely to put our country, Belize, on the map for craft brews.
I think there's enough room for 2 breweries in this country. I mean, there really are. And I know they don't think of it that way sometimes, but there's a lot of opportunity here for both of us.
Craft beer, it's about brewing a quality product. It's about not going to a production style beer, which is the same flavor every time. It's about bringing in new beers. I mean, we're going to have 3 beers that we're going to basically keep consistent, but we want to basically bring in a lot of new beers, a lot of tests. I mean, using some of the flavors that we find here in Belize. We'll be using various maybe fruits or various barks or whatever's of course safe, and going through and basically just seeing what we can come up with here and make it truly a Belizean beer, truly a Belizean microbrew.
We just are so happy to be who we are, Island Time Brewery, on an island where within 5 minutes we can put our toes in the water after brewing a beer. I can't think of anywhere else in the world I'd rather be. And since we're quite happy with being small for now and just doing what we're doing and sharing what we have, that works. It works for us right now.
Salud!
After chatting with the awesome people at Island Time Brewing, it was a pleasure to taste a few of their yet-to-be-released beers. They offer an exciting addition to the Belizean beer culture, and it's clear their passion for craft beer has changed the course of their lives. It was a welcome surprise to wrap up our adventures in Belize. On the final episode of the Beer Diaries World Tour in Belize, we will look at the people we met and the lessons we learned.
Kapa nugunya nu barrio guinha tu gura buga. Aí kapa nugunya nu barrio guinha tu gura buga. Aí bia manari golo nari palestipo kaduna manamu gane ibuye. Aí bia magari golo nari palestipo kaduna manamu gane ibuye. Aí ganhei bom,